I bought two comics today at a comic shop. First time I've been there. It's one of the few I haven't been to in my city. Wanted to check it out. Nice small little shop. They had this. So this is Tynion's The Nice House on the Lake. Number one. Originally I wasn't going to pick that up, but I had heard some good things about it online, and yeah, it's a pretty cool story. It's brave. I really dig the concept. I'm glad he's going out there with these kind of cool concepts. So if you have a chance to pick it up for cover, I would definitely recommend it. But again, American is $4.99. Canadian, I think $6.50, something like that. Here's what hurts me. I've been after this one for a while. They had it. Beautiful condition. It's like new. Like literally. I re-bagged and boarded it because I always re-bag and board my cool finds like that. And I'll put up the price, which I took a photo of before I did that. $6. Yeah, so Newcastle. Hellblazer number 11 was actually cheaper than a new comic. That hurts my heart. What can I say? But yeah, if you're going to do any proper John Constantine origin, it has to have this Newcastle arc in it. Now, I don't actually have to read that comic because I have this, and this is a collection of those particular issues. Now, one thing, I mean, the story is tremendous. The art, these are back in the 4-color days. So, I mean, it's not going to be to everybody's taste. It's not as fancy as today's digital color presses. Because you got to remember, like, this is 1988 and there was really no the true kind of color revolution in comics didn't come about till late 90s, I would say. Somewhere mid 90s, late 90s. So anyway, but super cool story. Gruesome, terrifying, anything you could want. So anyway, if you want a rec pick, that's it right there. If you find that at your LCS or have a chance to pick that up for $10 or less, yeah, I would do it. As a spec pick, and I know they printed like thousands and thousands of these, but that's a cool story. I really liked it. I didn't think I would like it that much, but I really love that concept. Kind of excited to see what happens. But anyway, today I'm going to talk about different comics. I'm going to talk about this one. This is X-Men 196. I love this one because I bought it off the rack. You can tell it's a newsstand. Condition, it's not great. It's a mid-grade, somewhere in there. I read the death out of it. Loved it. It's one of the ones that kind of got me back into comics way back in '86. Second one, I'm going to talk about Howard Chaykin's The Black Kiss. Now, the thing is, I'm not going to talk about the story. I'm actually going to talk about the dimensions and the amount of panels and things like that, which sounds funny, but we're going to be comparing manga. So this is another one. Oh My Goddess, The Lunchbox of Love. I think this is like volume 5, number 2, something like that. Cute story. This one I just got not too long ago, Ice Cream Man 24. Yeah, I wanted to check out Ice Cream Man. It's kind of cool. I can tell you I like this a lot better than this. And then, getting some real manga in there. Sorry, where'd you guys go? Going to be talking about that. And finally, I'm going to be talking about that. Rising of the Shield Hero. And for those who don't know, this is One Punch Man Volume 1. So let's get the spreadsheet going again. Okay, here we go. As stated before, Uncanny X-Men issue 196 came out in 1985. Its size is, it's about 10 inches high by 6.5 inches wide. So surface area per page, 65 square inches. It is printed in color. It has 20 pages of comic book. It has more pages than that, but they're all ads. So this is back in the days when comics used to have a lot of ads in them to help keep the prices down. And speaking of prices down, it was a 65-cent comic back in 1985. So on those 20 pages of comic art, there are 120 panels. So basically a panel is, the one's singular picture. Some panels may be full page or spreads, others may be quite small. But on average, it's about 6 panels per page. Now the story area, if you have 6.5 inches per page, 20 pages, so 65 square inches per page, 20 pages, 1,300 square inches, which means the average panel size is about 10.8 square inches, which isn't exactly true because you shouldn't include the gutters around the comic page and whatnot, but for our measurement, we're saying it's 10.8. In reality, it's a little bit smaller because of the white space around the edges of the paper. Next, we get into The Black Kiss, issue 1 by Howard Chaykin. Came out in 1988. Now, this is super surprising. It's 10 pages long, 68 panels, and it's black and white. So there's 6.8 panels per page, and average size is 9.6. So they're actually a little smaller than the X-Men. And Chris Claremont is what I would call a high-density writer. He has a lot of dialogue. He has a lot going on in 20 pages. And Chaykin actually has smaller pages than Claremont's X-Men for 196, which is kind of surprising. So there you go. But again, it was $1.25 in 1988. So I think the average comic was like 99 cents or 95 cents. So it was actually more, but it was an adult comic. So that's why the premium. Next we have Oh My Goddess, The Lunchbox of Love. Cute story. So this actually clocked in at 33 pages. They actually used the back inside cover as a comic book page, the final comic book page, to give it 33. 159 panels. So it only has like 4.8 panels per page, which out of all these, it has the largest panels. Now the reason for that is Fujishima Sensei, the artist and writer of Oh My Goddess. Beautiful artwork, lovely artwork. Has a lot of bigger size images, I think, just to showcase his talent, and I don't blame him. Like, you get the story across, that's fine, but we all just like a lot of pretty pictures, right? So nobody can fault him. It was $2.95. It was Dark Horse, part of their Studio Proteus. So it was a little bit more expensive than the average comic in 1997, but again, 33 pages. It was also about a third larger, so it all works out. Finally, we get into our Tenkamo, or our manga, kind of our trade paperbacks, if you will. One Punch Man. Now, this was, I believe, A5 size, which is about 37.5 square inches, and I'm just trying to remember how big that was, but it's obviously smaller than a comic. Published in 2012, clocks in a whopping 193 pages, 592 panels, but there's only around 3.07 panels per page because obviously the pages are smaller than a comic book. Much more storybook area though. If you look at it, like over 7,200 square inches of real estate because of that amazing, like, huge comic book page count. The average panel size is 12.2, so it's actually a little larger than the Uncanny X-Men and the Black Kiss, and just a tiny bit smaller than our final listing, Ice Cream Man 24. So the panels are pretty good sized for One Punch Man. Again, it came in at about $9.99 back in 2012. So believe it or not, it's almost 10 years old. Finally, we get to next we get to Rising of the Shield Hero #1. A little smaller. This would be, I believe, the B6 page size, but it's amazing the density of the panels in here. Just crazy. This one had, even though it was only 158 pages, 762 panels. It actually had more panels than One Punch Man. So 4.82 panels per page. It's almost the same as Ice Cream Man, which is a much larger area to look at. So as you can see, but total story area, 5,628 square inches. Average panel size comes in the smallest, 7.4. So again, you're dealing with a lot of like little panels. So I'll show you here now. Like, as you can see, yeah, I need my glasses on to look at that. Let me tell you, a little more expensive because it's a little newer than One Punch Man. I think it was $12.95 or so when it first came out. And finally, we get to an image title, Ice Cream Man, issue 24. It's a comic. It's in color. Again, standard size of 6.5 inches by 10 inches. Just published. 26 pages, so lots of pages, no ads. 131 panels, so more than the Uncanny X-Men, but again, 6 more pages for 11 panels. So obviously, it has more panels per page. Or sorry, less panels per page at 5.04, and the panels are quite large. They're not quite as big as the Oh My Goddess, but pretty close, and clocked in at $3.99, which you got to remember, Image Comics are a little cheaper than the average comics these days. I believe the average weighted price is $4.25. And that's why I used, if you can see down here, standard modern comics, about 20 pages. I would say on average about 100 panels, 5 panels per page. It's in color. Weighted average price is $4.25 as per Comicron, last I saw. So each panel, now this is an interesting way to look at it. Each panel you read in a standard modern comic is about 4.25 cents worth. So if you're doing 5 per page, works out to about 20 cents per page. The Tankemon, or the manga, this is hard to get data on, I'll be honest, so I'm just taking wild guesses here. I would say probably closer to 160 pages, let's say 640 panels. Vast majority mangas in black and white. Average price, again, hard to get data on, but we'll say $10.99. So maybe 1.7 cents per panel. So you're looking at a difference of a factor of 2.5. So to look at a comic book panel in color is about 2.5 times more expensive than a manga panel. Is the main difference because of the color? No, I don't think so. I'm sure that has a little bit to do with it, but there's some key differences here, right? So, I mean, the biggest one, and it should be really obvious, I mean, that's a periodical. It's very thin. It's like a magazine, right? It comes out once a month, or once bi-weekly, or once every 6 weeks, or depends on the artist's schedule, I guess. But this is a book. Not evidently apparent, but it should be. It's a book, right? Same with this. They're sold as books. You can go into a bookstore and buy these at your Barnes and Noble or Chapters for me here in Canada or wherever, as long as they have them in stock, right? These and this, you can't go into a bookstore and buy. At least I can. Maybe you can, but it'd be nice, but no, they just carry books. They do carry magazines. They usually don't carry comics. Usually they leave that up to the direct distribution these days. So there's other differences too. Besides, okay, one's basically like a periodical. One's a book. What are the other differences besides the price, of course? So as you can see, it's about the way I would compare it. Like if manga was in comic book form, like this, it would be about $1.99. It would be black and white, but it should be about $1.99 if it was a straight comparison, the way to look at it, right? So here's another big difference a lot of people don't think of, but you know, this is a translation. This is One Punch Man, which was originally shown in Jump, brought over by Viz Media. But you know, its first language is Japanese. These were originally Japanese. The English version is a translation, right? So not an original edition, because all the originals are Japanese, right? So there you go. Big thing too, like, and I would say because of the lower cost, because of how much easier it is to get, I would say manga is definitely for reading. I'm sure people do collect manga. I know they do. But I would say there's far more people buying, you know, the hot comic, the hot artist, and they don't even read it. They literally like treat it with like it was a sacred object, and it goes into the bag and board, taped into the short long box, and away you go, right? So I'm going to list some manga, and this is interesting. Certain volumes of manga are getting expensive. I mentioned this before about the out of print, but I was looking at some eBay listings today, and I'll bring them up and I'll talk about them, but it's just, wow. You know, like, it's about the readability, but what's going on with these series? So the thing is like I said, so I'm looking, if you're a speculator, I go and I spend, I don't know, however much money on all these books, don't read them, store them, hope they go up. In 20 years, the kids ain't going to want those. You know what? Because the kids ain't reading those either. They're too expensive to freaking read. What they're reading is this, right? So if there's a nostalgia play 10, 20, 30 years from now, it's not going to be the Avengers. It's going to be manga. That's the way I see it anyway. And I think that's the way it's actually shaping out. But let's have a look at some of those listings and we'll talk about them. All right, so here we go. Let's have a peek at what we got here. First, I wanted to talk about this Ghost Hunt manga lot in English. 5 books, $450 American. Has 3 offers. Like, I've never even heard of Ghost Hunt before as a manga, but holy cow, they're not even in great condition. But you know, that works out to, what is that, like $90 US a freaking book for manga? That was insane. Next, I'll go into one I have heard about and actually watched the anime. Fate Stay Night Volumes 1 and 2. Again in English. $89.95 for the pair. So $45 a piece. Like, again, pretty expensive and really not that old. Next we'll go into Initial D. Again, same deal. Books 1 and 2 in English. 2 views per hour. $90 American for a pair. Again, about $45. per book. Bungo Stray Dogs, number 3. Brand new. Okay, so that one's in nice condition. $59 American. Hellsing number 10, or volume 10. It's rare. Amazing condition. $379 freaking dollars with 10 offers. Oh my god. This is insane. And like I said, not all manga is like this. It's the 80-20 rule again, right? So you got 20% that are going to be of their asking price beyond the first year, and then you get into different tiers. But Hellsing is definitely one of those. That was insane. Then we'll get into My Girls, and I'm still looking for more of those Gunsmith Cats comics from Dark Horse. But the Gunsmith Cats Burst, I have volumes 1 and 2, and they're not cheap anymore either, let me tell you. But you can see these pair are 160, so they're about 80 bucks a piece. And that's kind of a going rate. But these are just basically collections of the original comic book manga. So, yeah, like I said, you want to. This is where I worry is because, yeah, I mean, there'll always be valuable comics, but it won't be quite like it is today, right? It won't be the same level of people throwing money at it, because a lot of the guys, and it is guys, they're like at least in their 30s, if not older. I would say most of them are like 45-ish, somewhere in there, that are really throwing around the big bucks. The kids today are reading the manga, honestly and truly. Oh, the other difference, and this will be my final point, when I was reading One Punch Man, it was like I was literally reading the anime, panel by panel, scene by scene. Like, it was exactly. Now, I've seen the anime, and they're basically the same. Manga, for the most part, is like one story. It's long form storytelling, and that's kind of it. Now, like I said, there can be a lot of different parts to the story, but not as many as comics. So, but yeah, no, it was amazing how close the anime stuck to the manga. And you don't get that with the Western movies. It's like it's based upon, and they could have some elements, but it's basically like a new story that's kind of based on the characters and maybe some of the events in the comics, but for the most part, it's meant to appeal to mass audiences. Anime is a direct retelling, so that's another difference, I guess. Anyways, so hope you guys learned something, and yeah, like I said, this one, have a chance to pick it up. It's pretty good. Not everybody loves it, but wow, it's cool to see some brave storytelling in comics, let me tell you. Good on you, Mr. James Tynion IV. So he's doing the stuff right now. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and hope you're all having a great day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.